pause
Oh,
when
okay.
you see the white button in
Oh,
the
it's
corner.
it's
working.
going now.
Okay.
Karen
She's
Ackley.
taping, and I'll edit all that out. We're fine. I'm Karen Ackley. I'm from Fergus Falls. I grew up in Holly, Minnesota, and I like to go by Karen Ackley. I married this 100% Norwegian. Okay, I did my DNA. Have to tell you guys, I did my DNA. I said, I'm half Norwegian, half German. Guess what my DNA said? It said I was Irish, Scottish, English. So I decided I was everywhere the Vikings went, so I'm actually a Viking. Yes. And I was going to wear my Viking dress tonight, but it was kind of wet and rainy. Anyway, I come from the south part of Norway called Flikkefjord, and I was there 3 years ago. And my German ancestry comes from just south of Denmark, and so it was on the coast. Again, prime Viking territory, so I guess I'm a Viking. Now, I married 100% Norwegian. He said the kids would be perfect if I wasn't half German, but I'm 100% Viking, so I have him on that one. So thank you so much for asking me to be here today. And I was humbled a few years ago with what we call dystonia, and I have a partially paralyzed voice box. And if you can't hear me, move closer, say speak up. I'll keep trying. And if I lubricate it with water, it usually works. So we'll talk about the slides first. So Eileen, if you'll tape that, I'll talk. The first thing you see up here is a hat. And this was done as a class project at Milan Folk School. And that's how I first met Eileen. We had a 2-day class. And Eileen made, did you ever bring yours to show what you did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
She didn't get the same skins. What you see there is a Gotland skin with a red leather on the seam. And you can see some of the same stamps that I have. I'm just going to go through it, moving from slide to slide. These are booties. I've taught numerous booty classes. What you see here is a white pelsau. This one here is a red pillow stamped. This here is what we call a skillbrog, which is sewn to the sheepskin. These are one of the favorite classes. These are simple, unadorned mittens. This is a 6-pointed or an 8-pointed hat. It's not decorated, but this here is what we call the Skinfell. You can see the edging is on it. This here is one that is a free shape that was edged. And you can see the blocks on there. This is a close-up of one. The Norwegians use what we call boiled alder bark to decorate and to make their block prints. The blocks that I have here today are laser cut from birch, and so you can see some of the possible blocks. When I went to Norway, I came back with $1,500 worth of blocks. Last year I ordered another 800. I only have 25 blocks. They're quite costly. This one here, the long skinny one that you just saw, that one is, I want to go back to that a second. I'll go back. Let me stop it a second. This one here is done with 2 skins. This is what we call a baby papoose, or a long skinny Skinfeller that is done for like a rocking chair. You can see on here what's neat about that is they took one block and made the center pattern, and then they took another block and did the outside edge. And I'll show you the blocks and stuff after we get going. This is a close-up. One of the things you'll notice here is the year and the name. Customizing with special Bible verses and things like that in Norwegian are great. This one here is a foreskin Skinfell. This is a freelance one that I did for somebody. They gave me the skin, it was red, and I custom made these last 2 for the person. And I just used the blocks I had. This is kind of neat, a Skinfell purse. Done with a Gotland that looks kind of blue. You can see here it has the gray, the blue, and the red accents. Very cool. Those are kind of fun to do, the extra little projects. This is a big Skinfeller. If you look close at this, this is a 3 skin. This is a pillow. The pillows are really quite popular. Let me stop that a second, back up. The pillows are really kind of neat because you see the Gotland skin surrounding by a simple in the middle. That one's kind of unique. It doesn't belong in there. Anyway, this is foreskins. They were individually decorated and sewn together. You sew them together first. You can see the sheep on this one, the edging. It was done by scraps. There's a long, skinny baby papoose or long, skinny Skinfell. Now you can see it how it is when it's folded up. And they usually put buttons on the side. This is a picture from Rollin Academy where I took my class. That's one of the Norwegian classes. These are what we call seat cushions. And here you see people decorating. The red tape is used to square things off. There's that wonderful little hat. This is a hat that was made in Norway. These are the wristlets. The wristlets are meant to keep the draft from going up your arms. The booties are very popular. I do a class where I have wristlets and the headbands, the booties and the glove. There's the pillow, the purses, the Skinfell. It's going back through, and I'll just touch up and stop in a little bit. Yeah, I want you to look at the different blocks that are on here. The edging blocks are really kind of interesting to explain how they work. You can see the center block. You can actually do a skin with only 1 or 2 blocks, but some of these use as many as a dozen. That's a close-up of how they sew it. Let me stop that if I can. This one here, you can see what you have there is a whip stitch on the initial seam. Oops. And it didn't stop. Let's try that again. Okay, I stopped it. What you do is a whip stitch on the initial seam, then you cut about a finger width. You shave all the hair off and you sew it on both sides. So every seam on the Skinfell is sewn 3 times. The chair cushion is a really nice project. The youngest person to take my class was 10. I have to tell you a story about her. I went to the fair and I was judging the lamb weed. She came out with her wristlets, her headband, and ended up getting a purple ribbon from me because she had made something match her sheep. Went to the state fair and got a purple ribbon there. She was delightful. I had so much fun with her. These are some of the Scandinavian embroidery. They kind of got in there too, so. This is actually a Scandinavian technique for weaving for what we call belts. You can see that sometimes they are ornamented with anniversary dates. Many times they're done for wedding gifts. And of course here it says 2016, the year is good. You can see on some of these that the edge looks like the fleece is just nice, and you can see how it's combed out. And the one I have up here, the difference is it's got an edging on it and it's much shorter. And you know, you can use either side of the Skinfell. These are multi-chair cushions in many different colors. This one's kind of neat. Look at how they did this. Looks intriguing. That took a lot of time. This is a long, skinny Skinfeller. Again, it can be used as a baby papoose, or they can be used in a rocking chair. Many times in the baby papoose, on the edges, they would put toggles with buttons and loops to hold them together. These are some of the blocks. The person that taught me, her name is Britt Solheim, and I have her book up here, Another Baby Papoose. The baby papooses are really nice. They're usually run about $200 to $300 for the skins, just the skins. Isn't that cute? Little cat's head peeking out, kind of a statement. And you notice the red paw. When I first started and took my class in 2011, not too many people used other colors. And since my influence, they started to bring 2 colors into them. And Britt told me that they usually only did brown and blue before. Isn't this pretty with the gold? They actually stamped that whole thing and then cut it out. You can see the use of 2 colors. Some of the symbols are, and I have blocks back at home that are what we call the Sami.
Oh my.
Isn't that cute? A little sheep done. You can do the head. That's more pictures from Rollin Academy. I usually have a picture sometimes on my slide of the one that I took at that exact same spot. This is my teacher, Britt, on the left, with one of her other students. And you can see how the person here has inked the block, has some of the blocks and is printing. And here is a person that is actually sewing the edges. And these are some of the people that were in one of the Norwegian classes. These aren't people, I was in 2 different classes. You can it's kind of interesting. When Britt taught my class, she taught the whole class in Norwegian. And jeg snakker litt norsk, a little bit. And so I was a good visual learner. I watched her quite closely, but she didn't stop and explain anything in English. Britt has over 500 blocks. She's been collecting them for years. It's going to take me a while. I have applied for a Minnesota State Art Board grant for $14,000. I'm hoping to get a stockpile of about 40 to 60 skins. Each skin costs about $150, and each block can run anywhere from 50 to 150. So it goes quite a ways. These again are people at Rollin Academy. Rollin Academy is in the Telemark region. They have folk high schools in Norway, but this is the only place that older kids like us can go to learn wonderful things like Skinfell. And of course, a baby papoose wouldn't be a baby papoose without a baby on it. This is a foreskin. I just love some of the blocks on this. That one with the corn is one of the ones I want to get. You can see when you have the free shape like this, you don't always have to cut them off. You can use them in the natural shaping. I know if you get a sheep tan, many times that's the shape you have. Here is a mixture of white and brown. And what's neat is they only use one block. This is Britt with one of her classes. I like the use of red. I have to tell you, in Skinfells, when you sew them, they say if you use red on the hide, that means you stuck your finger and you blessed the hide. Any hide with blood prints on it is blessed. You wouldn't believe how many times I blessed my hide. So, and you can see the use of, sometimes the characters look kind of like Celtic. That's a Skinfell with weaving sewn onto it. The old tradition of Skinfell was you would have the skin decorated, sew the weaving on with was the skillbrog, and then they'd crawl into their beds without a stitch on, the whole family in the whole bed, and they stay warm till morning. That's the tagos on the side. That's what the buttons and how you weave and braid. See how they are on the side so you can fold it up for the babies. It's really, that's what Britt does. There's many different ways to do it, but that's the way Britt teaches it. And this baby papoose has a skillbrog sewn on it. Isn't that beautiful? This is a different pattern for the baby papoose. I just taught a class in Watertown, and that's what the booties I taught look like at Watertown, which was cool. The booties is a nice class. I teach the booty class for about $50. When I do a 2-skin Skinfeller runs up to anywhere from $300 to $500. I'll explain. And this is what they're meant for, to keep you warm and cuddle. And they really are a lost art. The one thing you'll find about the Skinfells is they're not here.